Greetings, this is Playground News on October 12th, 2025, and I got some news for you. Let's get into it. After 2 years of devastating war, Israel's cabinet has approved a U.S.-brokered ceasefire deal with Hamas. This agreement described by President Trump as a breakthrough in the Middle East, something that people said was never going to be done. We'll see the release of Israeli hostages and nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. The Prime Minister's office confirmed the government has now approved the framework for the release of all the hostages, both the living and the deceased. 20 hostages are believed to be alive, while Hamas has said it may take longer to recover the remains of 28 others. Under the deal, Israeli forces will pull back from parts of Gaza while maintaining a presence in the territory. Hamas is expected to release hostages in the coming days, while Israel frees prisoners. Celebrations erupted in Tel Aviv and Gaza, though grief remains raw. As one Gaza resident says, "What exactly should I be happy for with all the blood that has been shed and all these martyrs?" The plan also calls for Hamas to step aside from governing Gaza, with a transitional committee and international oversight. Still, the path to Palestinian statehood remains vague, and the ceasefire will unfold in stages with no guarantee of lasting peace. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, hailed as one of the most extraordinary examples of civilian courage in Latin America in recent times. Machado, along a critic of President Nicolas Maduro, said the award is an immense recognition of the struggle of all Venezuelans, an impetus to conclude our task, to conquer freedom. The Nobel Committee praised her for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy, and noted that despite threats to her life, she stayed in Venezuela, inspiring millions. She was barred from last year's presidential election, but managed to unite the opposition behind Edmundo Gonzalez, who was widely believed to have won before official tallies declared Maduro victorious. The announcement also carried a warning. Democracy is in retreat across the world. While some, including Donald Trump, had openly sought the prize, the committee emphasized it bases decisions solely on Alfred Nobel's vision. Machado called the honor the achievement of a whole society and vowed Venezuela will be free. China announced new restrictions on rare earth exports, expanding its unreliable entities list to target U.S. defense tech firms. Since China processes about 90% of the world's rare earths, the move is seen as a strategic lever in trade talks. President Trump reacted sharply, writing on Truth Social, "This was a real surprise, not only to me, but to all the leaders of the free world. I was to meet President Xi in 2 weeks at APEC in South Korea, but now there seems to be no reason to do so. The restrictions cover rare earths, recycling equipment, and their use in overseas chip and military sectors. Analysts say it's a deliberate effort to strain China's bargaining position in negotiations over tariffs and tech trades." Trump warned of the massive increase of tariffs on Chinese products and hinted at other countermeasures. The standoff raises stakes ahead of what would have been the first Trump-Xi meeting in nearly a year. China defended the curves as necessary for national security, citing concerns about military use of its resources. What began as a scenic trek in Tibet's Gamma Valley turned into a survival ordeal for 30-year-old Fang Holiday and hundreds of others when a freak October blizzard buried campsites under more than 3 feet of snow. Fang recalled, "By midnight, the snow was getting heavier, and my sleeping bag wasn't cutting it. We had to dig together, which was tough since we had no tools. Just use our cooking pots." Around 580 trekkers and 300 guide porters were evacuated safely to Kundag. The storm struck during China's Golden Week holiday, a peak trekking season. Trekkers described the conditions as so wet and cold, hypothermia was a real risk. After abandoning their gear, Fang's groups hiked down overnight and reached safety to the next evening. The blizzard followed a week of extreme Himalayan weather, including deadly floods and landslides in Nepal and India. Fang's takeaway? We have to respect nature. Until we meet again, I'm EKW, and Tim Hortons is way better than Dunkin' Donuts.